Welcome to our third highlights programme from this year's Fonacab International Northwest 200 in association with Nichols Oils. This is one of the world's most famous motorcycle races, this year celebrating a special 90th anniversary. And so far we've had loads of high-speed drama and racing to rival any in the history of this illustrious event.
And they fire off.
Lee Johnston got away well, didn't he? It's 150 miles an hour, and that's what the slipstream does for Lee Johnston and James Hillier.
Oh, tremendous stuff. He's going deep. Oh, he's got on the gravel now. So
no! First time on a super stock bike. What's he going to do at the start?
Number one, Glenn Irwin.
Here comes Hickman.
Oh, he's down.
Harrison got full of motorbikes. There it is.
Oh,
Second time of asking.
As the Super Twins blast off the line, and it's Stefano Bonetti getting a good start.
We're riding on board now, so close in the slipstream.
Oh, McWilliams has gone down. He was lucky not to get collected there. Jeremy, what are you doing? But it is Stefano Bonetti, the man that does it on the pattern.
Oh, it's a little bit damp here now. Alistair Seeley leads them into turn one.
And that's race leader. Seeley's out. He's blown his engine, and that's caused a red flag.
On board in the rain, Davey Todd leads this Supersport race.
Oh, they flash through station corner. Incredible, but he does it. Davey Todd takes his first win.
And away goes Glenn Irwin into the lead.
And it's Seeley right behind him. We're going to see some action here. Seeley's going past. Oh, look at these guys going through Primrose Hill, but Glenn Irwin back in front.
Glenn Irwin on his way to victory. This is what he came here for.
His fourth win at the Northwest 200 in all kinds of conditions.
So 5 races so far with 5 different winners, and we've lots more to come. We've got 3 more races around this unique street circuit, the Super Stock, a thrilling Super Bike Showdown, and a memorable battle for the smaller machines. The Super Twins are on the grid. Philip McCallan is with me. Philip, we had a little bit of history in the first Super Twin race. Stefano Bonetti becoming the first Italian to win in the 90-year history of the Northwest. Can he do it again?
It's going to be hard. He's going to try, of course, because he wants another win, but Jimmy Card is still sitting in pole position. He lost that race. He wants to win it. Michael Rutter, 14 wins round here in the KMR team. He wants to win as well. And Derek McGee had a little bit of a slip up in the first one, so he wants to win.
What about Jeremy McWilliams? The experienced veteran had a crash in the first Super Twin race, but has come back out again, probably more hungry than ever.
Jeremy's had 2 offs, you know, his confidence is going to be dented a little bit, but he can recover from that. He's going to try hard, and he will be there as well.
Time to join our race commentators, Steve Parrish and Richard Nichols.
And although this is the official starting grid after qualifying, they're not all there, are they, Steve?
No, only Michael Rutter on the front row. Glenn Irwin's not coming out. I think he's had bike problems. But Bonetti, the winner from the first race, is. And, of course, Christian Elkin there, number 18.
Jeremy Williams has got a lot to make up for. Horst Seiger's there as well. Mikko Sweeney too.
So, who is going to fire these lovely little machines off the line best? They are 650cc, producing somewhere around 100 miles an hour, and it is still quite damp. They've all got wet tyres on as they watch the lights.
Watch the lights, heads down, and Rutter gets a great start. A great start.
Yeah, really good. Number 18, Christian Elkin, gets through there nicely, and Stefano Bonetti, as I said, the winner from the first race. It was sunshine and dry track. How's he going to cope with these conditions? Jeremy McWilliams, number 99, who tumbled in the first race here on Thursday. He'll be trying to make up for that.
Well, look at this. It's Rutter in the lead with Christian Elkin behind him, and we're on board with Stefano Bonetti in third place, trying to jam it up the inside at York Road.
He's gone tight. He's nearly on the curb there. Oh! He's down, he's down,
right
he's down.
down.
know what? He pulled the clutch in and tried to rev it and power it up the hill, but maybe that coldish tyre spun him out. So he is out on the first proper corner. Stefano Bonetti, disaster for him.
So no double delight for our Italian friend. Look at this, Christian Elkin already challenging and passing Michael Rutter going into Mill Road. That was a bit serious, wasn't it?
It was quite serious. Michael Rutter detests these conditions. He said he didn't mind it wet, he doesn't mind it dry, but he doesn't like it in between, and it is very in between. There you can say, just see, he goes really tight and just spins up the rear tyre and it flings him over the handlebars. So disappointing for him.
Well, such a shame for Stefano Bonetti. So enjoyed his first ever win at the Northwest 200 a couple of days ago, but these conditions are very different. But the slipstream's just the same, isn't it?
Yeah, are these two having a conversation, I think? Probably Michael Rutter and Jeremy McWilliams. They're old mates from many, many years. Look, bit of a gesture there.
I think he was just waving, wasn't he? Was he
Yeah,
just
I
waving?
think so. Probably the victory sign. Stefano, how
that's the
disappointing.
saddest walk, isn't it? The hardest one to go back to your team and tell them you fell off. But they'll have seen it and they'll know what happened.
Meanwhile, down at University, look at this. McWilliams is having a look on the inside of Rutter, number 8. Christian Elkin, 18, is also in the mix as they tip it in. Still very, very damp here. Looks like McWilliams has got the drive up over the top of the hill.
And McWilliams has got a lot to try and make up for. I know that Jeremy doesn't fall off motorbikes very often or very easily, and I know he'll be wanting to make it up to Ryan. He'll be determined to win this. Michael Rutter, as you say, he'll go with them as long as he feels comfortable, but if they take it up to the next level, I think Michael will let them go, won't he?
Yeah, as I said, he doesn't like these conditions at all. Jeremy doesn't mind any conditions whatsoever. He's looking for his 3rd win here. He's had 2 in the past. He finished 2nd here last year on the KMR machine. It's sort of his only road racing trip out. It's the only place he comes and races on the roads, but he's busy testing all sorts of bikes. He's always a very, very busy man off the racetracks doing all kinds of testing.
So he's absolutely up to speed with seat time, but this Northwest 200 is a different thing, is it? There isn't any test track that Jeremy McWilliams can go to where you keep the throttle flat this long.
No, absolutely not. There is the number 18 of Elkin. He's in that slipstream. Which side is he going to choose to go? I would say the inside, and he has. Slippery part of the track, but he's on the brakes nice and late. I don't think Jeremy will be that bothered at this point in the race. 4-lap race, of course, but he'll be weighing things up for those last few laps.
Well, one of the interesting things, we're missing several people. Jamie Coward was the pole sitter, and he didn't stay with these guys. He didn't stay with these guys in the first race until right at the end, and then he suddenly launched a massive charge. So it would have been nice to see him in this mix, because the slipstream would have just dragged him along as well, still keeping Michael Rutter in there. And Jeremy, is that it? Has he made his move?
Yeah, well, he's out in front. It depends on how fast he is on the coast road now. They're starting to get to grips with these conditions. They're knowing where the dry lines are and where the damp patches are, and trying to keep the bike as upright as possible on the wet and really utilising any dry part of the track that you can find. These tyres won't get too overheated because, as I said, these bikes aren't massively powerful. That's a brave move if he's going to do anything there up into Black Hill. But Christian Elkin was clearly faster through there.
He had speed, didn't he?
Yeah, but there was no room. Jeremy was using up all the track.
And from wave 2, Joe Laughlin just ahead of Matthew Rees. They started 30 seconds behind the first wave, so they're a long way down the track. We might see people popping up just because they've got a clear track, and the timekeepers will show if they're running really well, and we have had winners at the Northwest from the second wave. But at the moment, it's Christian Elkin hounding Jeremy McWilliams.
Yeah, nothing in this, is there? Nothing at all in this. Does look like Christian Elkin's maybe got a bit more pace. I'm really not too sure about that. Jeremy McWilliams will know as this race goes on. Lap 2, we're on Michael Rutter there, definitely dropping back on the other KMR machine. If it gets drier, maybe he'll pick his pace up, but as I said, he said right at the beginning, he really didn't look forward to these conditions.
You've just got a glimpse of it there as we look back.
That's Sandy Berwick. He's got his hand muffs on there. Looks like he's stolen them from his granny's scooter.
As we look back at other riders in the second wave, I was about to say, you can see how patchy it is. There's absolutely no way of telling which bits have dried out and which bits haven't.
Nearly a dry line, then all of a sudden they tip it into the corner and it gets wet again. It really is very, very tricky conditions, particularly trying to pass if you're around a corner, because you have to go onto the wet part of the course. Not so bad when you're on a straight line, and there it is. Christian Elkin does nip by, but as I say, when you're in a corner, there's no room for more than one bike on that dry line.
And as Jeremy Williams looks to come back at him, you look in the gutters and you can see there are puddles there. So if the slipstream tugs you over, as it seems to be moving Christian Elkin there, you're just going to end up in a puddle aquaplaning at 150 miles an hour.
But Williams again on the inside for the braking zone, but this time he decides better of it. And it is a race of tactics, because there's little point in really risking falling off out braking someone when you know when you get to the next straight you're going to get the slipstream. So really overtaking in a straight line has always been the easiest way. Jeremy Williams has a real big look at what's going on there, as we see number 48 Francesco Coringa, another Italian rider.
Mill Road, Ballysally roundabout, obviously the magic roundabout, going around the big one the wrong way.
A lot of aerodynamic changes on these KMR bikes. You can see a Motor 2 front mudguard they're using on that, doing everything they can to make it as slippery in the air as possible. Seems to be working. Aerodynamics are absolutely vital on these fairly lower powered machines compared to the big super bikes.
You've got to be really confident, I mean, if you're Christian Elkin, to sit behind Jeremy Williams and hope you can do him going into the Juniper chicane on the last lap.
Yeah, you have. You just sometimes just risk it, have a go at, see what you can do. But if you can get on the inside, you can afford to just let your brakes off and squeeze someone out a tiny bit more. Then that lovely slow motion stuff, and that again is Matthew Rees on another KMR machine, Rees Racing.
Brian Farquhar must have been the busiest man in the Northwest 200 paddock this weekend.
Yeah, 6 bikes he had out there, so that was a fair bit of preparation getting them running and keeping them running for that matter. And Jeremy Williams didn't really help him with those tumbles. I know one of them wasn't his fault, but
it's not much fun when your riders keep chucking them on the floor, is it?
No, and it gets expensive. That really is what causes lots of expenses when they start bouncing down the road. But allegedly not too much damage so far.
So we're towards the end of lap 2 out of 4, and it's looking more and more like this is a battle between Christian Elkin and Jeremy McWilliams. And at the moment, Christian Elkin is winning it.
He is. Rutter's dropped away quite a bit.
Michael Rutter dropping quite a way back. Matthew Rees
seems to have got the better of Joseph Lachlan.
And has Christian Elkin got the better of Jeremy McWilliams, or has he just thought, I'll follow him around for a bit and then I'll nail him on the last lap?
Well, I don't think it's over with yet, because as I say, they're close enough to get in the slipstream, and that really is all that matters once you get around straight. No, he has got away. You're right. Maybe Jeremy's had a little bit of a mistake, a bit of a bobble somewhere. Let's see if that gap closes down. Jeremy pretty good over the top of Black Hill. He'll now get the run down to there. 26 there is Garth Woods, and Kawasaki, and 79 Bruce Burney. That's a Suzuki.
Going round the outside, going right round the outside, but having to tuck back inside, and wait, he's obviously impatient to get by. There it is. And you saw the little foot movement there that gave him that, I think.
Really drying out. The next race would not be wet tyres, I don't think. This is sort of about the limitation for wets as we start the last lap.
And it's still Jeremy McWilliams in Christian Elkin's wheel tracks. He's close. This is what he wants, isn't it? He's close enough. He'll just follow him along York Corner, up the road to Mill Road roundabout. And then where do you pop out with the slipstream?
Well, as soon as you can on the last lap. I think all he's got to do is try and get past him down to Metropole or into that area, and just go as fast as you possibly can along the coast road. But no, I think Jeremy's in a position now after Station Corner to get through. Still going on here between these two lads of Matthew Rees from Aberdare. He's still hanging in there and having a good little battle there.
But not troubling the main leaderboard, though, unfortunately. As well as they're going, they're not coming up on top on corrected time. So they're running at their sort of qualifying and qualified pace, more or less.
Yeah. Yeah, going back to Jeremy, I would think after Station Corner he'll get the run there if he can then get down to University first. And this is the slithering around going into Mill Road roundabout. Just a tie, it's such a slow corner, very awkward coming out of there because you're in a low gear, so clearly putting the power down. Oh, Jeremy's going before Station Corner, so he's through there now, and then he's got to get a massive run through Station Corner, which is virtually got a dry line now. So with a dry line, it's flat out on one of these bikes, but just bit of a roll, maybe just a confidence check now.
Here he comes.
Here we go. But there's plenty more places to be passing using the slipstream. There's side by side. There's nothing in it, is there?
They're just going to ride along such a... Looks over, says hello to Christian Elkin. He's just in front a little bit, isn't he? Just checking position. And Christian Elkin's going to have to slot back in behind him, but then he's going to get the toe, and he's going to pop out again as we head towards the braking zone at University and try and outbrake Jeremy McWilliams when they get there. And that won't be easy, will it?
No, it really won't. That's the speed trap just there. They went through. That's around about 155 miles an hour, which isn't bad for these bikes. Really, it's got quite an expensive class now. It started off as a, I guess arguably you could say, as a replacement for the 250s. It will never be the same, not being the two strokes, of course, but performance-wise, not dissimilar, similar sort of horsepower, albeit these are a fair bit heavier than something like a 252 stroke, but it's now got quite expensive. Some of the equipment you're seeing on these bikes and the patterns out there, it's raised the game a little bit, and it has produced some wonderful racing here and at the TT.
And we are seeing, we had a fairy tale victory, didn't we, on Thursday night in the sunshine when Stefano took the first ever win for an Italian rider.
Okay, right, now, Jeremy, has he broken that toe? He's out of the Mathis Cross chicane. Good advantage.
Nice drive.
Yeah, it is good drive out of there.
This is it, isn't it? I think Jeremy may well just have done all that was needed.
Yeah, Francesco Coringa.
Another Italian, actually. We're just talking about his fellow countryman, Stefano Bonetti, not in this race, sadly, but winner on Thursday night now. Has Jeremy done enough?
I think if he has a really good run through the chicane here, through the McAvoy chicane, if he really gets out of there good enough, I think he's far enough in front. Michael Rutter, you can kind of see he's not really enjoying these conditions, but in a podium position there some way back.
So it's at the moment first and third for KMR and for Brian Falker, so he'll be reasonably pleased with that, I should think.
Yeah, Marty Lennon there from Banbridge. We just got a glimpse of him. So Jeremy now giving it everything he has got through Church. And I do think he has probably got it because he's very fast through. He's fast up through Black Hill. And he just needs to get into that chicane, Juniper chicane first.
Christian Elkin was very fast through here last lap and the lap before, but he just isn't as close anymore, is he?
No, and Jeremy will be faster now because prize money's in his grasp.
His wallet is open and ready to receive.
It is, yeah. I'm sure it'll be backs for him. But anyway, down to that final sort of passing place here at the Bet McLean chicane. Back through the gears, right the way down to first gear. He won't know exactly how close Christian Elkin is. Well, he had one or two looks over his shoulder, but he won't be hearing it.
He won't be looking now, will he? It's too Nadgery for that now. He's just got to keep his head down and do the job right, and he's done it really through Juniper, hasn't he? And now all he's got to do is pop over the top of Quarry Hill and dip into that left-hander.
Final corner for Jeremy McWilliams. He comes, oh my goodness me, he's up on the curb. What's he doing? But he wins it. Great ride from Christian Elkin, and Michael Rutter will come home third, but didn't need to do that.
Didn't that just give you a good look at just how hard Jeremy McWilliams has been trying all through this race?
Absolutely, and he will be overjoyed with that.
He's lost. The winner's enclosure is over to his right. I don't know what he's doing on the grass.
I think he's got a couple of mates of. He's probably trying to get a pint of beer, pint of Guinness. But anyway, he comes through there. Nice run, but that was just a little bit wide. He had no idea he had that much of an advantage, I don't think, but he didn't leave an inch there. He was up on the pavement. That could have been awkward. Bit of a burnout here in front of the fans.
Right, I'd be delighted with that, wouldn't he?
There you go, a little bit of smoke inhalation.
So 2 bikes on the podium for Ryan Farquhar, and the winner of this race, Jeremy McWilliams, Christian Elkin second, and Michael Rutter third.
And Matthew Rees came through from that second wave, really good for a fourth, and Joseph McLaughlin.
Francesco Coringa, Marty Lennon, Michael Rees, Paul Williams.
After everything that you have done at the very highest level of this sport, what does it mean to you here to come back to your local biggest race and win?
I just couldn't wait to get that race over. I kept saying Christian behind me going, come on, what have I got to do to drop him? But yeah, so because you've got to fight for it, I think that makes it all more, worthwhile. But if it came easy, it wouldn't be as ecstatic as I am.
You nearly didn't make it over into the winner's enclosure coming across the finish line.
Yeah, true. I just stopped to see some boys in the up in the hospitality there. They've been good to us over the years, and the place has been good to us. I mean, the Northwest has been good to us. So yeah, I can't say enough about the event. Well run in really sketchy conditions today. Good, all kudos to the organisers. I thought they were going to pull the pin, and that would have been really disappointing. I really wanted that win. Maybe I can retire now.
To be honest, he was learning from me and I was learning from him. There's a couple of places where his bike was really strong. I think he was very, very tall geared, because if he was in front, I could slipstream him. And obviously if I was in front, he could slipstream me, and it was a fantastic race. I really, really enjoyed it.
You obviously had him spooked. He spent more time looking behind than forward on the last lap.
I don't know. I could start, because of we had problems with the bike on Thursday. I was panicking. I wanted to try and nurse the bike really, because I didn't know whether it was going to do the distance, because the bottom end that they've got in is just out of a road bike. So at the end of the day, no new shells or nothing in it. Just plonked my top end and a second-hand set of pistons in it and built it up on. Well, we didn't speak to a lot of people on Friday because we're in the awning building the engine, so it worked out great for us. Fantastic.
Podium number 35, I think that is, at the Northwest 200. That's an incredible record.
No, thank you. Yeah, I didn't have any answer for Jeremy and that. He was just they're braver than me. That's it. The bike was fine. It ran brilliant. It was just, I thought, carry on. I just thought, they might hopefully go straight on down the slip road. And I could get them that way, but they just cleared off.
You were happy to let them go and just take the podium then?
To be honest, yeah. The bike running fine. No excuses really. I hate those conditions. I hate, wet weather. I don't mind anywhere in the world, but road racing, scares the life out of me. So I just rode around at my pace, and I'm happy enough to get a third. So fair play to everyone and Ryan and that, because all these bikes he's got, and obviously Jeremy's smashing them all up all the time. So he had to win one.
They say he's a veteran, and one of the things a veteran knows is when to give best.
Yeah, Jeremy a bit sore from his tumble that he had on Thursday. But big smiles there for him and for Ryan Farquhar. Job done.
So the veteran Jeremy McWilliams does it again, his third Northwest 200 victory. Well, the Superstock race is next. Former Northwest 200 winner Steve Plater is with me. Steve, Peter Hickman dominated the first one. Will he do it again?
Yeah, obviously we haven't seen him yet today in the conditions so far, but they got the bike back out the truck. He is on dry tyres, and they are declaring this race dry. So he's going to be in this. Obviously, he's pumped up. He may be a little bit nervous because he hasn't ridden around yet, though.
He'll have his work cut out, especially with the two Kawasakis beside him on the front row.
Yeah, of course. Irwin and Hillier, they've been putting on a great show so far today, and they'll be desperate. I think, actually, Hillier's going to be desperate to beat Irwin.
Behind him, more competition, do you think?
Yeah, without doubt. Of course, Michael Dunlop, he's on the Stocker. He's been going good in practice. He's quite happy with that bike. And the Hondas are back out on the grid as well. I've just seen Hutchie. He's there smiling away. So it's going to be a great race, this one.
Best conditions of the day so far.
And quite possibly the best race of the day as well. James Hillier's just been out on that bike, hasn't he? So he's well up for it.
Yeah, very much so. Irwin will switch to the Stocker. Peter Hickman, Michael Dunlop, Lee Johnson. He hasn't been out yet today, has he at all? Nor Dean Harrison.
Michael Rutter, Richard Cooper and a smiling Ian Hutchinson.
Johnson, Todd, who's been going extremely well. So there is Peter Hickman, his first time out in this type of conditions. Real mixture of tyre choices. Some have got full wets on the front and some have got the intermediates.
Glenn Irwin's got James Hillier's intermediate, we understand. He's given it to his teammate, but Hillier, and he is in the lead. Yes, I was going to say Hillier's getting a better start, and he's got it.
On board with Hutchie at the moment. It's still rather damp out there, but it's drying all the time. Richard Cooper going, he's getting better and better the whole time, the newcomer here this year, but Hillier already is like a shot dog off the line.
Well, look at that. Glenn Irwin's got his front tyre on. Hillier's gone for a wet front, I understand. And maybe that's what's giving him the confidence just to cane it early on.
Yeah, he had got the wet front on, and I think here we go at the start line again. James Hillier absolutely gets the drive down, gets the clutch out very, very nicely. Straight the way through past his teammate there, Glenn Irwin.
Glenn Irwin was very gently feeling the grip there, wasn't he, as he headed towards that first corner, and James Hillier knew exactly what it was like, just went past him.
Yeah, anyone with the wet front tyre will want to make kind of hay while the sun shines, simply because it is going to dry out almost certainly. On board with Dean Harrison on the Silicon Kawasaki there. He's going past Glenn Irwin, they're side by side. This is Peter Hickman as he goes through, trying to stay in the seat for that matter over the bumps. But yes, conditions are improving the whole time, but there's still a lot of damp patches around, and Hillier just seems to be nailing it from the word go.
He'll be looking for those damp patches now, because he'll be needing them later on perhaps, just to keep his tyre damp.
Number 47 there, Richard Cooper, as I said, newcomer. He's just going to tuck in behind some of those more experienced people, but James Hillier still without a win. Yeah, look at that advantage he has already.
Miles in front of them, and Hickey, one win already on this class and getting past.
Straight the way round the outside. I don't think Peter Hickman's feeling real comfortable with it, but when you've got the drier tyre on, you need to get the heat in it. You need to find out where it's wet.
Your man Cooper is going hunting for more scalps as well. Is he going to do something about Dean Harrison this early in this first lap? And incidentally, where is James Hillier exactly in all this?
Well, he looks to me like he's about 10 seconds up the road at the moment. There goes Richard Cooper on the Suzuki, the Bill Bay Suzuki. He tried to have a go at the Kawasaki there of Dean Harrison, but there he is. Look at that. 1 second, 2. He's got to be about 7 seconds maybe already at the moment.
He's so confident on that bike. He has just been riding it in the Superbike race, and maybe that's a very clever plan of his.
Absolutely. He's just coming off of the bike. Now Cooper coming down the inside, and he's done it. Richard Cooper goes through on the inside. Impressive performance. I mean, the little lad, he wouldn't set off a seatbelt sensor, really. He is tiny, but he is flying. The bike doesn't know anyone's on it at the moment, I don't think, but this fella is just, I don't know, I've never seen anyone pull away so much at the Northwest in my life.
Previously, we've seen that done later on in the races by the likes of Seeley and Irwin, but lap one, and James Hillier's gone. Dean Harrison didn't enjoy being passed by Cooper, but Cooper didn't want him to come back, did he?
No, I think it's a bit of a level of these conditions. Peter Hickman doesn't look real happy with this. I think he's dropping back a lot, and I don't blame him if you're not comfortable with it. It's not like anyone would normally just go straight past Peter Hickman like that.
Yeah, I think he just let that one go, didn't he?
I think he did, yeah. So, yeah, good on Richard Cooper, doing a great job there.
I wonder. Peter Hickman, yes, he is, isn't he? He's decided that was enough. I bet he's had a word with the team and said, look, if I don't like the look of it, I'm not doing it. And that's fair, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. 82 there. Derek Shields going very well on the other Suzuki.
And Hunchy as well.
Yeah, you can see actually it is drizzling with rain again now. That might work well for the guys with the front wets on.
Yeah, so we're seeing people call it a day. So 2 of our front runners are out of this. Dean Harrison is one of our front runners, and he's about to be in front of Cooper, is he?
Yeah, he is. He's alongside him, but look, you can see how narrow it is. It's because you need up all the road you need. And look at him, right out of the seat, Dean Harrison I'm talking about here, just bouncing him clean out.
He didn't want to go right over to the edge of the road there, did he, where the puddles are as he was going past Cooper, so he let that one ride for a minute or two, and now he's in front at University.
Looks like Glenn Irwin, number 1, who's just behind these two, so he's in 4th position. He's starting to kind of get a bit more settled. There goes Cooper again. He is very good. Now, he's got a wet front, and I noticed at the start, so that's given him a bit more confidence. With that wet front tyre on, you just feel happier when the front's planted. You don't want it wearing out, obviously, but it's going to have the heat in it a lot more, and he'll be a lot more comfortable over the wet parts.
Oh,
Dunlop in as well.
He's had a miserable week, hasn't he?
He really has. I don't think he's finished a race, has he? Well, he had a 3rd in the early Super Stock.
Oh, yeah, so he did. Yeah, he's been on the podium, so it's not all lost and gone, but the rest of it's really not happened the way his fans would have wanted. Never mind him. There's thousands of people going to be disappointed by that.
Davey Todd just coming through there. Davey Todd's got past Glenn Irwin and Dean Harrison, chasing after Cooper. So Davey Todd, who we've seen have some great rides so far this week.
He's had his first win here, so he'll be full of confidence.
Oh, look at that Suzuki wriggling around, trying to find some grip. Here comes Glenn Irwin, or he's down the inside of Dean Harrison.
They're just trading places quite comfortably at the moment, and this little group is the slipstream group, isn't it? Because Hillier is
down the road.
18 seconds ahead of them.
That is absolutely incredible. They won't even see him. They won't even know he's in the race, I don't think. But I think Glenn Irwin here is just adapting himself. He's not used to riding a super stock machine, of course. He normally just rides a super bike. So this is a slightly lesser powered, slightly softer, not as light, not as powerful or anything else like that. So he's just getting himself into gear with this, and I think he's got the dry front. In fact, he has, because Hillier lent him the drier front.
He did, yes.
He's done a good move there, actually. I think. You take this, son.
Yeah.
Off you go.
You're welcome. No, you have it. I'll be fine. Yeah, it's a little bit of psychology at work there, perhaps.
Really has seemed to have worked for James Hillier. Yeah, I'd say quite extraordinary. And if you can get that, there it goes down the inside past Derek Shields. Yeah. So that's Glenn Irwin. Oh, he's run out wide there. I don't know if he's going to stay in front.
I think that's Derek Shields closing up, isn't it? At the moment, Derek Shields has come forward to this battle, and I think Glenn Irwin is dipping ever further backwards.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Davy Todd still looking nice there in third at the moment. Michael Rutter on the back of this pack. So.
No race leader in this shot, but he is there. Trust us, he is well out in front and galloping. It's the only word for it. He is galloping away with this.
Really is, yeah. Through here. Okay, on board with Dean Harrison. There is the tow and the slipstream again. Once again, look how low that helicopter is. It can't go high because there's too much cloud up there. And you can see Cooper's bike wriggling around. A lot of that's down to his weight. He is tiny. I have to say, I don't know what he weighs, but I'd say under 60 kilograms.
Yeah, so the bike's not fully loaded, perhaps.
Doesn't know anyone's on it.
Yeah.
I don't think, no. So anyway, good job. And I'm sharing a Manx Norton at Goodwood Revival this year with Richard Cooper, so I'm going to have to get my act together.
Don't have his settings.
No, or his seat height.
Dean Harrison seems to have fallen back from this. I think him and Glenn Irwin got caught by Derek Shields. I think either they got involved with each other or they must have had a moment. But he's had no moments, this boy, has he?
Look at that. He's got, all the way back to the McAvoy chicane. I don't think I've ever seen anyone have this kind of a lead in wet, dry or any kind of conditions. The Cooper on the left, the 47, and there is the 74 Davy Todd on the Pens 13 BMW. Slams it down the inside, quite dry into here.
It is dry, but these other two have just dropped back from them. Remember, that's Dean Harrison and Glenn Irwin falling away from the pair in front. So these two fighting over third place. It's Glenn Irwin who's dropping back, isn't it? It's Glenn Irwin. He's not liking this at all, is he?
I'm just wondering if it started to rain a little bit more. Very difficult for us to see, but there could be a bit more drizzle on parts of the course, and if you're not comfortable with that, you've only got to have a little slide or something like that and lose some of the confidence, then it will put you off. But we ride with Dean Harris again. You can see how dark it is up in front. I'm sure there's more rain to come, actually. The clouds are getting lower and lower.
There's a little bit of smear on the camera lens there, but that's just been thrown up from the road. Doesn't really give us any clear idea of what the weather conditions are at any point on the circuit. Just murky. But Davy Todd riding well. Richard Cooper is doing really well to hang on to him. Newcomer. Yeah,
and he's really plugged away at this. His results have got better. His times have got better. Every single time he goes around, you just saw there Dean Harrison just having a bit of a slither there, trying to just transmit that horsepower that they've got there. And even these super stockers, I've said it before, they're over 200 horsepower.
We've heard from a few people this week that the coast road is likely to be the slipperiest part of the circuit at any time, just because of its proximity to the sea and the lower temperatures there.
Yeah. Dean Harrison up the hill. Dean hasn't been out today yet, so this is a chance for him to get a result.
But yeah, it's 4 very, very fast sighting laps, please.
Yeah, still spots on that camera lens there. Again, that Bill Bay Suzuki and Davy Todd down the... Oh, I thought he was going to flick it into that one.
No, not
Just
here.
about a dryish line through here, but passing, as we've seen before, quite difficult. Look, we've had to move. Dean Harris had to move on the wet part. Dry bit is over on that side. He's getting squeezed, and you don't purposely squeeze some. You just use up all the track because it's a constant amount of bends along this straight here. You actually go curb to curb.
And the slipstream sucks bikes together, doesn't it? Pulls you towards each other as you go by. So there's a little bit of that as well you have to fight on. Oh, who's this? Do we know him?
We certainly do. Wow, I've never seen anything like it. He can afford to just ease things down a little bit now. He's got that enormous advantage. He'll be getting a pit board as he leaves.
He really does need good pit boards, doesn't he? Because he needs to know that he can roll it off just a little bit here and there, not take any more chances.
Dean Harrison, it's all swapped around a little bit here. That was down the straight and the slipstreaming going on. So Dean Harrison now up into that second position at the moment.
And Glenn Owen's dropped away from the back end of this little group. He was right on their tail, but he isn't right on their tail now. So he's definitely not enjoying himself. And Dean Harrison now looking for a podium finish because the race lead's gone. No, whatever happens now, this lot are not going to catch James Hillier unless he goes up an escape road somewhere.
Yeah, he'd have to make a mistake surely, or have some problem with that wet front tyre, but I can't imagine it because Richard Cooper's got the wet front tyre. Again, it's wriggling around. He is absolutely fighting that bike. He's going to be worn out tonight. He'll need it.
He wants to go and have some pies, doesn't he? Because he enjoys racing a whole lot more.
It's certainly been more stable, I'm sure of that, because that Suzuki handles well. But because, again, those treaded tyres, and because he's so light and it's bouncing off the bumps and the wet patches all the time.
Yeah, he needs a good northwest coast diet of Guinness and chips for a couple of weeks.
Like you had last night. Yeah.
Harrison, Todd and Cooper at Metropole, left turn and onto the coast road for the end of another lap here, and he's already there on the coast road ending this lap, isn't he?
Yeah, and actually just seeing the gap is coming back a little bit, but I would imagine with his pit board, if you see plus 18, you think, wow, maybe I'm going too far. So I think he's probably just buttoned it off a little bit. I'm talking about James Hillier, number 37.
And now Cooper's at the tail end of this group, and he's just off a podium finish because Dean Harrison and Davey Todd swapping places again here at the chicane, but they are making a little bit of a break, I think.
Yeah, it does look that way. But having said that, I think Cooper's probably quite fast on this section because this is where it's rather damp, and that front tyre of his is probably giving him a little bit more confidence.
Will we see him come alongside Dean Harrison? Look at that.
There he is. He's made up all that ground that he'd kind of lost.
Nice to know he's listening, isn't it? So, over the line for the final lap.
Final lap, yeah, coming up right now. It looks like Glenn Owen has faded away. And then Cooper, impressive there. Just over the start and finish line. You don't see that many people passing at that point. But Dean Harrison is just been dropped back there, but I think that Glenn Irwin has decided these aren't the conditions for him.
Hillier's backed it off, look, you can see them now.
That gap has come down. It was up to 18 seconds. I'm going to say that's around about 10 now.
Yeah, he's definitely eased off, and I don't need to be doing this, do I?
So you get a pit board that tells you that far in front, you're wondering why.
He did say before the start of this, didn't he, James Hillier, there are safer ways to spend a Saturday.
I think there are. Probably not ways of even a splash of water coming up there from Todd. Yeah, there's probably no ways of having more fun, but yes, there are certainly safer ways of doing it.
Cooper certainly looks like he's enjoying himself, doesn't he? He must be enjoying this scrap with these two guys.
Down the inside, and that front tyre of his is doing a good job.
If it's raining more now, he's probably getting more and more confident as well, and he's more likely to be at the front of that group when they get to the start-finish line.
Yeah. So look, that gap's really come down now.
Hillier needs to have a look round, doesn't he?
That's about 5-6 seconds now, so it's come down. So
if they get a draft down here going to Metropole,
yeah, it could be very interesting. I don't know if they'll close this gap all the way down, because I'd imagine that James Hillier's also got a signal to say they're closing him down. He's running the Metzlers, as is 47 Cooper on those Metzler front, intermediate back.
So at the moment, it's James Hillier in the clear. He's got it done, hasn't he, at this point in time? There's no way Davey Todd's going to catch him, even if he rides completely out of his skin.
You cannot imagine it, James Hillier. No, that's comfortable, and people are already waving their programmes and cheering him along. What a result this will be. 10 years he's been coming here. If he can pull this one off to get his win, he deserves it. He's ridden so well all week. He's had podiums all the time. He's been very consistent, very constant. Came close to winning the Superbike race.
I'll tell you what, this has been an absolutely majestic performance from James Hillier. He's been in control of this race from the start, and he's ridden it like a star. That checkered flag is all his.
Absolutely brilliant. Who's going to get his second place? Cooper. Cooper just gets in front of Todd right at the last minute, and there is confirmation of James Hillier, who's just down to that 3.2 seconds. Richard Cooper, Davey Todd, Dean Harrison comes in fourth.
What a race. What an afternoon. What a winner.
An incredible performance. Your first Northwest 200 win.
Took a while, didn't it? Bloody hell, like 10 years, is it?
11 years we've been coming.
So, yeah, I think we've earned that, and this week I've had a 4th, 3rd, 2nd last race, and so that was good, but I wouldn't have that was so sketchy there, the coast road especially. It was like it's the worst type of rain, it just doesn't sink into the tarmac, it just sort of sits on the surface. It was really kind of slippy and easy, so easy to make a mistake, so... well, yeah, that's it, job done.
Those conditions then, they just lent itself to, I guess, my riding style. You know, I have won BSB races like that before, and that was no different then. And to battle with Davey, who really good friends, there was no way I was letting him having that into Juniper chicane there. So I think he will buy the drinks tonight, that's for sure.
I'd imagine after this, you'll be back again.
Yeah, I mean, for me to come here, everything's got to be right. With the Bill-based Suzuki team, they do everything perfect, and that's why I'm here, because I have 100% trust in what they do.
Absolute crazy battle, but still really enjoyed it. You know, it was a shame to miss out on second, but you know, couldn't be happier with a podium position.
Your second year here, what a great day you've had.
I know, absolutely crazy. A 1st and a 3rd, you know, we really couldn't ask for more, given the conditions and everything. And yeah, massive thanks to the team for putting a great bike underneath me.
Congratulations, well done.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Everybody on his podium has a good reason to be happy, but none more so than James Hillier,
who ended up with Rider of the Day.
So persistence pays off for James Hillier, another different winner at the Northwest 200. Next up, it's the Superbikes, and one man who knows all about that class is the 4-times world Superbike champion, Jonathan Ray. Delighted to say Jonathan joins me now. Always a special event for you to try and come home for?
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. You know, I was really lucky enough last year to get a lap on the H2R on the track, so I got to open it up on the way out to university, and then I really enjoyed the lap from Metropole back home with all the fans here. And you know, I had to walk up from York Corner this morning. There's still loads of people out there, so yeah, unbelievable.
Thank you, Jonathan. Well, this is the one they all want to win, the feature race. Can Alistair Seeley get his first victory of this year's Northwest 200? He's looking for win number 25.
and if it comes, it'll be in the 2nd Superbike race. This is it, the grid forming up, but the weather conditions are deteriorating. The cloud is closing in, the rain's getting heavier, the brollies are up, and there's a lot of debate going on the start line about whether or not this race should in fact run over 4 laps, a reduced distance for this as well. And they're pushing the bikes away from the grid. It's all over. No win number 25.
So disappointment that the final Superbike race didn't run, but Philip, probably the correct decision.
Yeah, I think so. You know, the rain came down, the light was fading a little bit. You know, a few people had taken the bikes off the grid. So I think Mervyn, he had a tough decision to make, but he made the right decision.
All in all, a difficult Northwest 200 on the main race day, but credit to the organisers. It's been a fabulous event.
When we first arrived this morning and it was so wet and cold, I thought there was no chance for any racing, I really did. But 4 great races, not just 4 ride-arounds, you know, it was brilliant. Good atmosphere and a great result for an awful lot of people.
All in all, 7 races at the Northwest 200 and 7 different winners. Pick a highlight for us.
I think I have to be Stefan Benetti. He came from Italy, you know, as a one-man team. He rode as fast as he could, and he picked up the win, and his team celebrated. They're still celebrating tonight. He had a little off in the last one, but to come from the underdog to win, I have to give him my highlight.
Steve, for you?
A man that's been improving all the way through. I criticise him always for starting too slow, not just here but the TT as well, but James Hillier has been incredible, going from strength to strength through practice, qualifying and then through the races and winning that Superstock.
In terms of the King of the Roads Championship, this is how things stand. Michael Sweeney in 3rd place behind Derek McGee, but it's Derek Shields who leads the way, just 2 points the advantage.
But that's it from this year's International Northwest 200. We look forward to seeing you back here on the North Coast next year. Until then, from all of us, it's bye-bye.